Davis of the Austin American-Statesman. You can follow him at _Danny Davis. And Danny, yesterday you and I were at Coach Sark's media availability. One of the things that he was talking about was the retention on both offense and defense, and how he was hopeful that a lot of guys would come back and kind of understand their roles. But as expected, he knew that was going to happen too. But one of the questions that you asked about was Arch's health, and what were your thoughts with his answer about not only Arch, but the other players that were injured and Jonah Williams?
I think the Arch response is about what we expected. Once again, I don't think anyone needs to worry unless Arch is not out there in September, whatever that actual date of the first game is against Texas State. I mean, I think Texas is playing it slow with him. This is his fourth spring here, so I don't think it's necessarily he needs to be, taking all the reps. I think Steve brought up a good point that it's good for some of those backups, KJ Dia, those young guys, or MJ Morris is just coming over this offseason to get some of those first team reps and get some working with the guys. But yeah, I think everyone's kind of progressing, whether it's a Ryan Wingo, whether it's a Trevor Gooseby, some of those guys are progressing back, Ty Anthony Smith, and then, the Khalid Lockett news isn't ideal, that he's going to miss the rest of spring, but Steve seemed pretty adamant that he'd be back this summer. So not all the best injury news, but not terribly. I don't think anyone needs to be sweating about anything that Steve said yesterday about the injuries.
Danny, you have these younger quarterbacks or newer quarterbacks in the fray. Who looks right now like they deserve to be a number two, or is it too early?
I mean, we don't get to see practice, so I don't really know what anyone looks like. But KJ, I think KJ Lacey, being this is his second year, I'd expect him to be the front runner. You would hope, if you're a Texas fan, that someone who's been here for a year and came in as highly regarded as KJ is, that he'd be the front runner for that job. Diabell is obviously a huge talent, that 5-star kid, but he's supposed to be, as the cliche goes, getting ready for his prom right now. So he's still young, he's still getting used to stuff. I think it'd be a little bit of a concern if he was the front runner for that job. And then MJ Morris is kind of the wild card. I don't know if anyone expected Matthew Caldwell to come in and grab that backup job last year, but he kind of showed what veteran experience can do. So maybe MJ can fill that role, but he's going to need to learn this offense and take advantage of the spring before we can just assume that. But I would say KJ Lacey, at least from my bird's eye view, which is very, very far away from the practice facility, that he'd be my front runner.